Welcome to week 4 of Game of Thrones. I'm Ben DeBono.
I'm Ben Kirkwall.
We have a lot to talk about tonight, both in this episode and both with the reaction to last week's episode.
Yeah.
Lots of, there's a lot to process last week, so I think some additional follow-up thoughts I know I have. Mm-hmm. Actually, I don't know if you saw this, but I did a whole second video.
I did, I watched that.
Okay, so I want to hear your thoughts on that, but we'll get to that in a second. So we have follow-up from last week. People disappointed I wasn't grumpy, which, there's a first time for everything, so I don't know what to tell you. But first, we have Beer, which is the three-eyed raven, which I think is going to be significant heading into these last 2 episodes. I might be the only one. This was from 3 or 4 years ago, and I remember liking it a lot. Yeah. So I don't know how old this bottle is. I can't remember if they reissued it or what the deal is.
It's good. It's like a dark ale.
Exactly.
That's about what it is.
Yes. So. And then what we're going to be smoking tonight, we got Stogies back. So these are 1502 Emerald. And you'll notice, I don't know if people on the video can see this, but they're kind of a square shape. That's called a box press.
Okay.
And I think you'll really like it. They have a unique construction.
Okay.
So one of my friends who's very into cigars got me turned on to 1502.
Yeah.
The Emerald, Ruby, Blue Sapphire are the ones I've had so far. They're delicious. So I bought the 1502, and look at this box, everyone. I don't know how well you can see it, but this is a hell of a cigar box. I mean, you just gotta admire this.
Right?
It's not some cheap-ass construction.
No, they put time and effort.
Oh, this is a nice, this is the type of box where there's no way I'm throwing this out afterwards.
Right.
This is, the dog's here!
Yay, the
Alright,
dog's here.
so let's let the dog in and then we'll fire these guys up.
That's right, I'm excited.
In fact, I'm gonna leave the door open because it's getting a little warm in here.
It is.
That way he can come and go as...
I mean, it was like 65 today here in Minnesota.
I know.
That's hot.
It is hot.
It's balmy.
Alright, people are calling this a Bunsen burner. It's a desktop cigar lighter.
Right. For all those people that light cigars on their desks.
There we go.
Hell of a... I'll let you go first again.
Alright. And I think if you're gonna do something, do it right. Whether it's killing dragons or becoming a murderous tyrant.
You gotta go all in.
Getting rid of the Night King, whatever it is. Go all in. But no, this is 1502s are one of my favorite stogies right now. These are absolutely delicious. I have a box of the Blue Sapphires on its way. So I'll have another cool box like that. And I gotta think I'll probably make my way through the ranks eventually. But these are so good.
So good. That's delicious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the emeralds are a little bit more mild than the rubies or the blue sapphires, but not a ton, just enough where it's just a nice, good smoke. So, love these. Alright, I don't even know where to start.
We'll start
with last week.
Yeah.
We were in the minority. We were calling it a top 5 episode. Lots of people pissed off.
I just don't understand why.
Right, so I was talking to you about this a little bit before we started watching, and here's the thing, and I know I said this on the video last week, we're not going to be able to evaluate that episode completely until the show is done. We don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And so it's entirely possible, if there's nothing supernatural the rest of the way, then I'm going to agree with the criticism that the Night King was tons of build-up and the White Walkers tons of build-up and then too quick.
Yep.
Okay? Fair criticism. That said, just take the episode on its own. Just beautifully constructed and filmed and everything.
But it was so dark.
Oh, it was so dark. Well, all you peasants with your 10-inch TVs or whatever.
That's true. Our 128-inch TV.
That's right.
Doing just
That's
fine
right.
with it.
So stop watching on your iPhone. What are you doing watching on an iPhone? I could have told you that was a terrible idea before a single frame of the episode started. And the other thing is people complaining about, the strategy wasn't smart. Why the Dothraki charge? Well, who gives a shit? I mean, here's the thing. George R. R. Martin puts a lot of time into strategy, and you get stuff like Battle of the Blackwater, and that's all fine and good, and I guess that's interesting. I couldn't care less about strategy because I don't like action scenes. So what I like, and this is just me personally, I'm not telling you you're wrong if you disagree, and so there's certainly room to criticize, but for me, I would much rather have something that's artistically intriguing like the Dothraki charge than something that makes sense strategically. That's just me. But, here's the thing. You're 70 episodes into this thing. There's, at this point, 2 more to go. Just give it the benefit of the doubt. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
There's no point in being a negative Nelly. I'm the last person who would ever be a negative Nelly.
You've waited too long to see what's going to happen at the end here.
That's right. Well, and it's true. I've been waiting for almost 20 years for the end of this story. So, am I objective about it at this point? No, I'm not objective about it. But you know what? I gotta say, I am actually really, really enjoying this season. I think that outside of a few things in the first episode, and there's mistakes here and there, we're going to talk about Miss Sandy a little bit. I mean, pour one out for Miss Sandy. The greatest love story of our lives is over. So we're going to talk about that. And I've got some choice words on Miss Sandy and on Pirate Euron. And it's like, this show isn't perfect. And it's definitely the last couple seasons have been, I think last season more than this one have shown some flaws, and there have been flaws along the way, and this season's no exception. But this has been a really strong season so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
And another really strong episode tonight. General impressions. Was it what you expected?
That's about what I expected. It had a little bit darker tone than I expected it to have overall, but characters talking to each other, catching up, Arya and the Hound walking with their horses, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. That's about what I expected.
Really setting things up for the final confrontation with Cersei. I'm happy that we got a little farther down that road, because what my thought is that next week, I don't think the Battle of Cersei is going to take the whole time next week.
No, it's not. Yeah,
I could be wrong, but I think we're going to be more or less wrapped up before then. Probably halfway through the episode or something like that. I don't think we're going to have another Battle of Winterfell where it's the whole thing.
Right.
And I kind of like that because here's a couple things that I really liked, and then we can go through the episode like we usually do. But there's some plot points where it's like, okay, I see you're setting this up, but it's kind of predictable where it's going to go. Right. Bronn going to assassinate Jaime and Tyrion. Well, we know how that's going to play out. And I love that it played out that way, and we didn't beat around the bush about will he, won't he, that type of thing. It's just fine. We knew how that was going.
Yeah.
That's good. And I also like that Bronn and other people are kind of acknowledging that this really isn't going to be a contest between Dany and Cersei. Especially when Dany goes all mad queen on the bed.
Right.
I mean, I guess you gotta respect the anti-aircraft.
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta fly at night?
I don't know. But they're gonna find a way around that. I mean, that's not an insurmountable obstacle.
Right.
But yeah, man, they've been mass producing those.
Mm-hmm.
They got the Qyburn factory rolling in King's Landing.
Yes. Those are complicated to make,
but they're also aesthetically pleasing. They got the nice steps going up to it. It's like they really put not only practical engineering, but they put an aesthetic touch on it, which you got to appreciate. Qyburn is a man of taste, and they got it mounted on the ships. And multi-purpose.
Yep.
Dragons down, take out the ships.
Right. Seemed to work.
It seemed to work. It didn't seem to work. It did work really well. All right. So, in a sense, I'm just reaching for my notes here. In a sense, you could almost look at this as 2 episodes. It was kind of 2 40-minute episodes, a little bit. you had the aftermath from last week, and then you had the setup for the Battle of Circe.
Yep.
So, and I think it kind of works that way. I like the opening scene with the pyres, Jorah and everybody, and Theon gets the Stark bookmark or whatever that was supposed to be.
Some hairpiece.
A hairpin
or something. Yeah.
It was almost like the hand of the king.
But for Starks.
But for the hand of the Starks, that hasn't been a thing, but I guess it can be now. I like that it wasn't exactly the Night's Watch funeral words,
Right.
but it was kind of along there.
Right.
Like they guard the realms of men. And
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's exactly what they did. They did as the Night's Watch was supposed to do. Right?
That's right. That's right. And just a good scene overall. Really well shot. Kind of picking up from last week with some of the silence. And I like that we're not, they just kind of let the moment be what it is.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, it's like for all you negative Nellies out there, I just think you have to appreciate the artistic oomph of these last couple episodes.
Yeah.
They've been it's been really, really strong cinematically.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make it a compelling story necessarily. We'll see how all that works out. But I have some thoughts on there, as we'll get to. Alright, so Gendry's hot to trot for Arya.
Right, as he probably, yeah.
And that'll play out in a little bit, but first he becomes Gendry Baratheon.
Which was cool. I like that.
It was cool, but I also like that they kind of use it to that Daenerys isn't just doing this to be nice.
She's playing the game.
Right. And you almost had a moment there where it's like, this could go either way. She could make him Lord Baratheon, or she could say, we're going to go burn you to death.
I know, I was like, how is this going to go? Well, I didn't think it was going to go that way, because she would have done the same with Jaime then. You know what I mean? So.
Well, that's true, but, Jaime, that's true. But, he's not the usurper.
Right.
It's just, it doesn't have to make sense when you're a tyrant. It's, you think Hitler always had internal consistency to his ideas.
Yeah.
No, sometimes you're a little stressed. The latest concentration camp's behind schedule, and it's like you gotta... I'm not defending it.
No, you don't.
We're not defending it.
You don't talk about it.
Well, I love Hitler jokes. It's like... I did not see that coming. Anyway.
Okay, anyways.
I have a really good Hitler joke, but it's not coming to mind right now. We'll get there. Yeah, okay. I like that in that whole scene, and then so that Jon and Daenerys have this little interaction after that, where he's like, we still have us, and you should envy me, blah, 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 blah. And I like that Varys is watching. And this is one of the main things I thought was great about this episode, is that Varys is back. It's been like 3 years of this show not knowing what the hell to do with Varys.
Right, he just kind of was.
They kept him around for this.
But now there's a problem with the king.
Mm-hmm. Which is all the more disappointing that they got rid of Littlefinger last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I hated at the time, and I hate it more now, because Littlefinger, I would love to see what he would be doing in this scenario. And Littlefinger is the thematic, is the yin to Varys yang type of thing. They're both Machiavellian. Yeah, but one of them is selfishly Machiavellian, and the other one serves the realm, as we'll get more into. And so I'm disappointed Littlefinger isn't here to share this moment with all of us, but I'm glad that we're doing something with Varys.
Yeah, because he plays a much bigger role in the books than
he's been
playing.
Yes, he does.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost like to a T when they got past George R. R. Martin's writing. They didn't know what the hell to do with Varys.
Right. He wasn't a character that they had really thought about.
No.
And he's a POV character.
Mm-mm.
No?
Nope.
Maybe that's why. Maybe they just couldn't see into his mind then.
Right, and even in the last couple books, Varys disappears for a very long time.
Yes.
But then, that's one of the advantages, I suppose, of the books over TV, is that you have to keep the actors interested, or you're not going to
You have to keep. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, he's
You
just
need to
been
keep
sitting in the
paying them.
background for forever. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so and last week I think was kind of the nadir of that with Varys and Tyrion, where it's like, well, really they're sitting there kind of useless in the crypts, and we're all kind of feeling like, yeah, they don't have a lot to do, and so
Right.
yes, that's why even though I hope and I think there's going to be more along the lines of the supernatural, this did feel a little bit more like vintage Game of Thrones this week.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I think that's good, even though I think there's more coming, and I hope there is more coming there, because I agree that I don't want all this payoff from episode 1 to just be over in an instant. The long night shouldn't just be a night. It should be a lot longer than that. But it is good to be back with backstabbing and Machiavellian games and all of that.
It's been a couple of seasons.
It has been. It has
It's
been.
like season 3, after Rob died, really.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Well, and this is what gives me hope going into the last 2 episodes, too, with people complaining about this and that, is that Dave and Dan,
the Double D's.
the Double D's, were on their own for a very long time. And even though George R. R. Martin obviously hasn't written the final book, like, the things he described to them when they kind of did the whole powwow was, where is the series going at the end? So we are moving back into George R. R. Martin territory. Not in the way we were at the beginning, but plot points and general, character destinations, at least for the main characters, we're back in George R. R. Martin territory.
Right.
So have faith, everyone.
Comforting.
Exactly. The Hound and Sansa scene was really good. It's one of those things, because I haven't rewatched the series recently, that you forget that they were together all the time in season 2 up until the whole King's Landing thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because the Hound was Joffrey's guy, and Sansa was there, and season 1 and 2, and yeah, that's just one of those things where these characters have come so far. But that was a great conversation.
Yeah, I really liked it. They just kind of hit the nail on the head with everything there.
Yeah, and it's, kind of a messed up sentiment from Sansa of like, well, if it wasn't for Littlefinger and Ramsay, I'd still be that little girl.
Right, it's like,
now I'm ready to kill everyone.
Right, it's like, did you really want to be in the game though? Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? Exactly. We have Arya, Gendry proposed. He's still Gendry in my mind, because that's how he's on the audiobooks, so I don't care if they call him Gendry. It's whatever. Anyway, he proposes to Arya.
And Arya says, you figure it out so you can say it.
It's the "that's not me" line goes all the way back to season 1, where there's a scene with her and Ned saying something like, "You will be a lady," and blah 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 blah. And she says, "No, that's not me." And it's one of those moments where it's like, yeah, that isn't Arya. And we had no idea where her character was going at the time.
We didn't.
What's the dog doing? He's out there howling. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I liked...
Sam, come here!
I liked Arya's line there, because really her story arc is not to
Sam!
just end up being the lady and getting the happy ending that we would typically think of when we are thinking about a happy ending for a character. That's just not where Arya's story is going to go. And so I like that they just put it out there now, like, she's not just going to be sitting around at the end doing exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, man, Happily Ever After would have just sucked.
Yeah.
That would have been terrible.
For her, that's just not where it's going to go. It's not...
Exactly. Yeah. And boy, is it ever. I mean, she's heading to King's Landing. Everybody's heading to King's Landing. Except at first, Jaime's not heading to King's Landing. And why? Because he and Brienne are doing it.
I think, I was surprised. I thought Tormund was going to be the one.
Well, he wanted to. But you gotta feel like they knew this was where the arc was going all along, and the whole Tormund thing was more, they're playing with it because of fan reaction and all of that. Similar to Lyanna Mormont sticking around more than one scene.
Right.
And so I enjoyed the joke with Tormund and Brienne, and it would have been fun if they had hooked up or whatever, but this is the more thematically satisfying path.
Right.
And who knows? You know, she kind of was left standing brokenhearted. Tormund could be there to pick up the pieces next week. You never know.
Yeah, they're not leaving yet. So.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason not to have sex before marriage.
That's right.
Get your heart broken.
You get your heart broken.
Leaving for his sister. You know.
Oh my goodness.
That's not good. Put that out.
That's okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's why. You don't want the guy to leave you for his sister.
Yep.
Or for his aunt. Oh, how do you like that segue?
Yeah, that was
Danny and John.
Danny and John. John was like, wait. She's my niece. This is
No.
That's
She's her nephew.
Yes.
Get your family trees right.
It's a really messed up tree.
You know, if we're going to talk about incest, let's be accurate, please. Yeah, so this was kind of funny to me, and we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but we might as well talk about this part now, of how this kind of unravels with, you can't ever tell anyone. Oh, I won't tell anyone. It's like, well, Arya and Sansa, you can keep a secret, right? Well, Tyrion, you can keep a secret, right?
Arya is really good at keeping secrets. He's the secret keeper.
Well, yeah, I mean, he just came out and said it. Like, it made people know it's not a secret, it's information.
Right.
You know, and yes, by the end of the battle, everybody's going to know. And that's going to, you know, we can talk at the end where we think things are going. That's certainly one of the plot lines in the post-Cersei world, because Cersei is not going to live through about halfway through next episode.
God, what if she does, though?
No.
What if she does?
Well, we'll get there. All right, we have the War Council scene, and this is kind of where there's not really a clear delimiter between episode 1 and episode 2 in here, but it starts right around here with the War Council. We're shifting our focus down south. We're done mourning. Though I gotta say, I hope people don't complain about, oh, it's so slow, there's only 3 episodes, I spent half the time in that, in the hall, because there's so much going on there in terms of the relationships and the scheming, and there's a lot of subtlety in that first half of the episode.
And Tyrion breaking the ice with like, so now that we're in agreement, because we all just said that we agreed, right?
Right.
Because...
Oh, what was we took care of them, but we still have us.
Oh,
that was a great line. Where it's like, yes.
Lord of Light took care of the actual evil, but
it's like,
we'll destroy ourselves. It's okay.
Yeah, that humanity can unite against a common foe, but the second that common foe is done, it's back to fighting against each other. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, to evoke the thematically rich film Independence Day. The aliens come and today we celebrate our Independence Day. You're looking at me as though you've never seen the movie.
I have. I'm just trying to find the relevance for...
Humanity unites, it's because everybody's Independence Day, and... you guys get it.
But we don't see the after.
Well, no, that's why it was a joke. That it's not a thematically rich movie. It's just like, you got people are fighting each other.
I thought you were trying to convince me that it was.
No, it's a bad movie. It's like,
I mean, he drags an alien in a parachute.
Right, that's great. But my point is that it's kind of like alien invasion trope, that humanity overcomes their differences to fight against the aliens. And this is, we have that now.
We need an analogy. We're already doing that.
All right, well, I just, people like analogies.
We had the real thing. They really did that in the show.
Okay. It's just, people like to connect it to Independence Day.
All right,
Anyway, so that's when we got the Tyrion and Bronn scene. Bronn's just working his way up. He's going to be on the Iron Throne before this is over.
I was surprised by the character change in him from last season to now. He's more like the book Bronn.
Yeah. Well, I think it's always been there.
But he was always a little bit more chummy, and now he's like, fuck this.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting out of here.
Yes.
I do wonder, he said, I'll see you after the war is over or whatever, if we're going to have a Departed kind of scene at the end of Departed, where he just walks in and
we didn't need an analogy. We didn't need an analogy. We have it right here.
No, this is an actual analogy.
When we need
'Cause
the
it
analogy.
hasn't
It's
happened
okay, you've got me there. Bastard.
Sometimes. Where he just walks in and shoots like Jaime or Tyrion or somebody
Right.
with the
Just
crossbow.
A Mexican standoff at the end of Game of Thrones.
No, the Departed was not a Well, yeah, okay, yes.
It kind of was.
Yeah.
Kind of was.
Just boom, done. And it's like, oh, okay, that person is dead.
Right.
So now what happens?
Yes. That would be satisfying, and then it's just Bran staring off vacantly in his wheelchair. Everyone else is dead. No, more is going to happen with Bran. We'll get there. Okay, so that's when we got the Tyrion and Sansa scene of Sansa tells Tyrion, the whole, you have to promise you'll never tell anyone. That lasted about 30 seconds.
Anybody that's not named Ned Stark can't do that.
No.
There's literally one, well, him and Jon.
And that's the thing. Sansa's not, she's not honorable anymore, which, now that I'm talking myself through it, at first it seems like Jon being kind of dumb, but this underlies one of the things in this episode where I forget who said it to him, but she's not the girl you grew up with. She's not, was it the Hound who said that? I don't remember.
Tyrion.
Or was it Tyrion?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't remember who said it, but you know what I'm talking about. And Jon is willing to tell them because he trusts them to be honorable.
Right. And he's the only honorable person left.
He is. And...
Was Arya honorable?
No. Absolutely
you don't think
not.
So?
No.
Why not?
Well, she has her own internal honor, but not in the way that Jon is honorable.
Okay. She does what's right by her, not necessarily
Yes.
what's right by morale.
She has kind of the vigilante honor. She is honorable to her code. Jon is honorable in the way, to the realm, per Varys point in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Now, there aren't a lot of heartwarming moments in the history of Game of Thrones, but the Sam Gilly scene was pretty great.
That was heartwarming. I like that. I liked his, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, it was very well done.
It was perfect. They never said where they're going, because he's not a maester, and Winterfell already has a maester, so
I don't know.
He's
I don't
not.
know.
I don't know.
Don't.
They're just letting the character sit there, twiddle his thumbs.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's
Light
possible
the-
it's possible we could never see Sam again. It's possible.
They kind of set it up when they left that that's it for everybody up there for the most part.
It had the potential to be that feeling. I don't think it is, but it's possible.
John's definitely not coming back.
Yes.
That was the I got. This is very reminiscent of Ned.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Jon might very well be burned to death by the end of next week. This is when we get the Tyrion Varys. See?
Venereal, whatever.
No, I was doing Varys and Daenerys.
I know you were.
Not venereal disease, though there's probably plenty of that running around. Especially after the
about that
Battle of
with Jaime
Winterfell.
and Brienne, and I was
Yeah.
like, what? Maybe he's got... maybe he
You're
doesn't.
nothing like my sister. So he's just sitting there afterwards in bed comparing her to Cersei. It's like, Cersei always did this. I'd really like it if you could give it a try.
Anyways.
So Tyrion and Varys have the talk. This was a great scene, and this is what I talk about with Varys being back. They have this first one where they're kind of talking about Jon, and then they have this second one later, and let's just talk about them both. Varys is all in with kill Dany at this point.
Yes.
Because he is loyal to the realm.
And Tyrion is dying on his... found his hill to die on?
Yeah, and it goes to piggyback on our conversation from a minute ago about Arya's honor versus Jon's honor. You could also go to Arya has one type of honor, Jon has a type of honor, and Varys has a type of honor. Mm-hmm. For Jon, it's like what he's committed to matters even if that thing goes tits up.
Right.
For Arya, she's committed to herself and her own code. Varys is committed to this abstract idea of the realm, and it almost goes full circle then.
Yeah.
A little bit. But this is what makes Varys such a fascinating character, and why I'm so glad that they figured out what to do with him after all this time. It's like, yes, this is what this character is for that type of moment. And I really liked in the second conversation where they're talking about tyrants, and there's been this whole thread through the whole story, books show, especially the books, of, yes, this is a game of thrones. That you have these people squabbling over titles and land, but then does not impact the real people. And I like that Varys came in with kind of the counter argument to that, which is that, yes, this is silly and ridiculous, but it still impacts their lives. And who sits on the Iron Throne does have an impact. And so I appreciated that, because it's kind of true, that message of that, yes, what matters is putting food on your plates, but,
Right.
it still matters who's in charge. And in any political system, that's the tension, right? Is that, in a sense, it doesn't really matter who's president. You get up and, Bill Burr had a hilarious bit on Conan after Trump was elected, where he was like, you're still going to do the same thing you do the next day, before November 8th. You're going to get up and you're going to put food on your table. How many times has Obama made you a sandwich? It was this hilarious bit. And it's like, that's true. It's like, it doesn't matter, Trump, Obama, whoever, doesn't matter. You're still going to get up and provide for your family. On the other hand, people in power make real choices that impact real people, for good or bad or indifferent. And so I like that we kind of got some of that in here.
That was good.
All right. So Tyrion then is kind of caught between the Jon and Varys position, which is where he's always been.
Yeah. And he's going to actually have to make a decision.
He is going to have to make a decision.
And it's going to be bad for him either way.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah. I mean, Daenerys, I'm full in on Daenerys is going Mad Queen.
Oh, it's already clear that that's what they're setting up here.
And people, lest everyone forget, and I don't remember how much this details in the book versus the show, but the reason Jaime is the Kingslayer is because Varys opened up the gates for the Lannisters. Varys is the one who put that in motion. It wasn't Jaime acting independently. That was Varys opened up the gates because he knew that the Mad King had gone mad and he wanted Jaime to do what he did.
So what's he going to do to get Tyrion to kill her?
I don't know. It's going to be wild, though.
It's going to be... Man, I don't even know.
Alright, everybody's favorite cartoon villain comes back, and this time he kills a dragon. This was a pretty cool scene, I thought.
I liked it.
Yes.
I was like, alright, we're safe, we're going back. And I was...
Right.
While that scene was going on, I was like, thinking about all the... legend stuff that they had talked about with dragons at Dragonstone and the magic that goes along with that and blah blah blah, and I was mid-thought and then a dragon died.
Yeah, it was almost a magic dragon riding scene part 2 from the premiere, which, I don't remember what we said on that in our review, but that was a dumb scene. The whole Dany and Jon
they
magic
didn't need
dragon.
to go and
no,
do that,
it was dumb. It was dumb. I think that what they're trying to underscore is the love between them or something before all the shit hits the fan. But it was dumb. So it's like, well, magic dragon riding scene part 2. Holy shit, he's down! He's down! Oh, he's really down! They got it like 5 times!
What's weird is that one of those arrows hit Drogon. Well, it was a lesser version. It was the 1.0.
Well, they got him like 5 times, too.
I know.
It was like... and this is where all the strategist people from last week are, well, they should have aimed at both dragons. Well, yeah, it's we're not going to kill 2 dragons in this scene. Just move on with your life. But yeah, I was kind of glad that the scene didn't go on for too long, because it was a little bit ridiculous when we started aiming them at the ships, but fine, it's done. And then Grey Worm dives into the sea to go after Missandei, and at this point I'm just like, good God, can one of them just die?
Drown trying to save her.
Yes. It's like one of them should have died last week, and now it's just... This romance was dumb when it started about 5 years ago.
Has it been that long?
It seems like it. It's been at least season 6, so at least 3 years at this point. And it's been dumber and dumber and dumber, and just like, you know, Miss Sandy's just sitting there, they're holding hands on the boat, and she's like, I'm glad my man doesn't have any balls, and, you know, it's just, good lord, it was dumb. But apparently she survives. They kidnapped her, and she was the only one they kidnapped. This made no sense to me whatsoever. I do like the ending of it, which we'll get to in a second, but I'm going to be mad about it for a minute. The whole idea of Miss Sandy, get on the boat. I'm going to get on the boat. And they just kidnap her? Right. Like, what the hell is going on here? She's a translator.
Right. And how do they know that she has any sort of... I mean, she doesn't have any power over here. She doesn't speak the languages. She's not advising anymore. No.
She's worthless.
She's just there.
She's there just there.
She was there at the beginning.
She's just there.
Right.
Like, I mean, you know, if ISIS ambushed Air Force One and kidnapped Donald Trump's translator, do you think he'd give two shits about the translator? No! It's just, this isn't going to be high international drama. They're not going to be like, you give us, you know, you withdraw all forces from the Middle East or we're going to execute your translator. It's like, okay, go ahead. We're not changing international policy for a translator. Like, this is the dumbest plot point in the world. Anyway, we'll get there in a second for the very end. But first, Jamie goes south. And that's great. Oh, I forgot. Qyburn and Circe decide to tell Euron that the kid is his.
Perfect.
All right. Euron's another one who needs to die.
It's only an episode, right? So it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Whatever. Jamie goes south so that he can kill Circe. We're kind of supposed to think he's going to go save Circe. He's not going to go save Circe. He's going to go kill Circe. So everybody, Green Eyes is not Circe. Let's get that point through loud and clear.
To play this next week at the end of the episode.
Yeah, Green Eyes is Circe. Yes, Green Eyes is not Circe. All right. Final scene, negotiations. First thing, did you ever play Doom?
No.
So Doom, there's all these levels where there's like different doors that you can't get through without a blue key card or a red key card or a yellow key card, and so they have different banners. The Lannister banners look exactly like the banners in Doom. Am I wrong? Now, comment and let me know how right I am. They looked exactly like the banners in Doom. It's like, you need the red key card to get through this door. Alright, I like this scene a lot. I liked everything about it.
Yeah, I did too.
I like Qyburn versus Tyrion. I like that Tyrion just kind of goes right past Qyburn.
I was annoyed by Qyburn. I mean, I'm already annoyed by him all the time, but just the level of ineptitude there.
Yeah, he's a slimy little guy.
Yeah, it's just the worst.
And I have to say, I even liked Miss Sandy in this scene. I thought for sure when Circe tells her, give your last words now. She's like, Grey Worm, I love you. Oh, no, she goes, Dracarys. You did it.
Burn it down.
You didn't redeem yourself. You didn't justify your existence in the show this long. You didn't even justify your living past the Battle of Winterfell last week. But, given all of that, that was a great way for her to go out.
Yep, that was good.
And then we get to watch the mountain kill her, which,
right.
I was cheering for Circe in the mountain at that point, not gonna lie.
Jeez.
And the great love story of our time, star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet, Paris and Helen, Dante and Beatrice, Miss Sandy and Grey Worm. They really rank up there in the pantheon, I think. Mm-hmm. Just pathetic. Thank God. I felt the same way I did when everybody in Dorne died. It's like, thank God this is over.
I did like how they brought up the Dornish.
Yeah, I was like, no, don't go there. We tried Dorne in this show. It didn't work. Let's just leave Dorne.
One thing I was upset about when they left is that we talked last week about how the dire wolves have just died out, and now it's just like, here, Ghost, go live above the wall where you belong.
Yeah.
You don't belong to me. And it's like, oh my god, like, just the...
Yeah, Ghost was missing an ear this week. Did you notice
missing
that?
an ear, he had half a
He was
leg.
he was in rough shape.
Well, yeah. Not expecting him to go fend for himself.
Right, exactly.
Heartless beast.
Yeah, the CGI people were just sick of animating all those individual hairs. Get rid of them. Yeah. All right. So Missandei's dead. Daenerys turns away. She's pissed off. All hell's about to break loose. Cersei has a million giant dragon crossbow things, but it doesn't matter. It's all gonna go to hell next week.
Right. Somebody's gonna scale the wall, and then they're gonna like take over one of those, and then we watch what they do to the ships. So you just turn it to the side, and now 10 of them are gone because apparently they can just fly through anything. So
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right. So for people who didn't watch the other video I did last week, I think I said some of this. We were talking about Bran a little bit, I know, in the video last week. But what came to my mind afterwards is that, the whole brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes thing is that brown eyes, that's people, blue eyes is the White Walkers, and green eyes is either the Children of the Forest or it's Bran who has the green sight, or some combination thereof, and I'm 100% convinced that's where we're going. So here's where I think this is heading. Obviously next week is largely, even though I stand by what I said earlier, I don't think it's going to take the whole episode, it's largely Dany versus Cersei, probably fallout from Dany being the Mad Queen and all of that. But the thing to remember, everyone, is that when they had their powwow with George, he told them 3 things that shocked them. 1 was Shireen getting burned alive. 2 was Hodor's name. 3 was at the very end. There is something else to drop that we haven't seen yet. Mm-hmm. And everything that we're talking about, to the show's credit, they're acknowledging that it's more or less predictable. In other words, not to say it's unsatisfying, but we know that Cersei's going to lose. We know that the whole Dany and Jon thing is going to blow up. We know that she's going Mad Queen. We know all of that. There's something else that's going to drop, and it's going to be Bran. Guaranteed.
Dropping?
Oh, too soon. I like Jamie bringing that up, by the way. That was really good.
Yeah, I like how he didn't mention the name, though.
Like, so I pushed a little boy.
Right.
No one you'd know.
Prancer.
So here's what I'm predicting for next week. Now, I'm going to do what you should never do when you're predicting fan theories, which is get into the details. This is a hint for everybody. Never, if you're coming up with a theory on how a story is going to go, never base it off small details and never predict it down to small details. Base it off of thematic arcs and predict in the broad sphere, which is what I tried to do in my video that I made follow-up for last week.
Sure.
But I'm going to go ahead and go into the details.
All right. Can't wait.
End of next week.
Yep.
Cersei's dead.
Okay.
Things are blowing up with Jon and Dany.
Yep.
Dany is on the Iron Throne, though.
Perfect.
We kind of have the feel of that Jon's retreating to the north, or or whatever is going on. Something has happened that more or less feels resolved. And we're kind of feeling like, okay, the show could actually end right here. The bad guys are done. Things are bittersweet. Didn't work out with Jon and Dany. We figure out she's been pregnant this whole time, which I still think is going to drop. And it's like, okay, so what are we going to do in the finale? We don't have time for another big war between Jon and Dany, but there's something brewing here. Final scene. We have Bran in his wheelchair by the weirwood. He's doing his spooky eye thing. He shuts his eyes. We get some flashes of the past involving the Children of the Forest and the Night King and the Walkers. His eyes open. They're blazing green. Cut to credits. That's your final scene next week, everyone. How cool will it be if I'm right? I do think something along those lines is going to happen where there's going to be some revelation about Bran, but obviously probably won't be that specific, but you never know.
Right.
So you watched my video. Do you
Yeah.
buy my theory? Or where are you at on all this?
Yeah. I mean, they just haven't set up Arya killing Cersei enough.
No.
Especially, like, you can't really set up somebody killing the Night King because he doesn't have a there's no quarrel between
Right.
two specific people. So the fact that there wasn't one there is whatever. But the Cersei, it's too big to, I don't know. If it is her, that'd be dumb, but...
No, did you see the interview with the Double D's on Jimmy Kimmel
No.
last week? So Kimmel asked them, are we done with the White Walkers? And their response was, we can't answer that. And this is why I think it's going to be something with Bran, because it's not going to be, oh, the White Walkers aren't really done.
Right.
That feels anticlimactic. But we need something else there to make that whole storyline and all the time feel worthwhile. It's going to be Bran.
What if Jon becomes the new Night King?
That seems unlikely. But Bran, he hauls him up into a werewood and stabs him through the heart.
Yeah.
That would be wild. That would be wild.
Right?
I mean, there's places this can go. But there's still, the fact that we were still developing Bran this week, I feel like people thought, well, all the supernatural stuff is done, but we're still playing with this idea of Bran, oh, I live in the past now, and that whole thing, and you're going to be Lord of Winterfell. Well, you don't want it. Well, but he doesn't care about what he wants. It isn't that he doesn't want it, he doesn't care about what he wants, and he doesn't respond to that. It's like, no, I'm not going to be Lord of Winterfell.
So what's the point of having him
Exactly,
around
there's
and doing
still something to drop with Bran.
Right. If it's just he's the green sight person and he's just sitting around, then give him the Varys role of, hey, there's Bran in the background again, advising and doing whatever. But giving him scenes.
Yes, Bran is going evil. You heard it here. I'm 100% on the evil Bran. Evil. Remember, the children of the forest made the Night King. And remember that in that scene...
They didn't know what they were doing.
No, they did know what they were doing. They did. That's the thing, is that they made him... If you go back and watch that scene, they said, we made him to fight men.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they made a WMD and didn't know what to do with it. The real villain is the children. And the Night King symbol, that whole pattern that we saw burned, that pattern was the pattern of the tree that they killed the Night King on. It's a Children of the Forest symbol. It's like something is happening there, everyone. Just don't get distracted. And then I expect apologies and I expect accolades when I turn out to be right here. I don't know what the particulars are going to be. It's certainly not going to be full-scale invasion because we don't have time for that. Though how cool would it be if they're secretly, we're actually doing season 9 and it's Children of the Forest versus everyone. No, that's not going to happen. But
that'll be in your time jump.
Could be, yeah. I'm still interested in the idea of the time jump. I think that's still definitely a possibility. I may be going a little bit away from that just because I've been on Evil Bran, but we'll see. All right.
We'll see.
Any final thoughts?
Looking forward to Cersei dying next week. I can't wait to feel completely satisfied.
Right.
No matter who kills her, just she's dead.
And then we get a new villain, Dany.
And if she's not dead and she's still on the Iron Throne somehow at the end of all this,
that's gonna be wild.
I'm gonna throw the book at the wall like I did the first time during the
Yeah. All right, so that's all for now. 2 more, everyone.
Hey!
And I'm Ben DeBono.
Ben Kirkwood.
Sci-Fi Christian. Goodbye.